A very warm welcome to everyone. Today in this video, we are going to discuss the class 10th poem For Anne Gregory, which was written by William Butler Yeats. William Butler Yeats, born in 1865 to 1939, was an Irish poet and one of the foremost figures of 20th century literature. A pillar of the Irish literary establishment, and he also helped in the formation of the Abbey Theatre. He won Nobel Prize in 1923 for literature. For Anne Gregory was published in 1933 as a part of his collection of his poems, which was entitled The Winding Stair and Other Poems. Now, coming to the poem, it consists of 18 lines forming meaningful stanzas and meaningful segments. I would like to begin the poem from Shakespeare's quote, "Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder." Now, I'll just discuss a few main themes which are inculcated or which are included in the poem. First of all, we'll discuss about religion, that how when a human being, when we cannot find a solution to any problem, we always make religion as an excuse. In the poem, similarly, the poet has described how when the women are try to break the stereotypes, they are threatened by showing religion and by presenting the concept of heaven and hell. Second, beauty standards. We all are very well aware of the objectification of the women, which we keep on watching in the advertisements or in the movies or in the songs. How a woman is objectified and is limited only to her beauty standards. The talent of a woman hardly matters, but she's only judged for how beautiful or for her physical appearance. Third point, feminist approach. The poem has got feminist approach as the woman who challenges the society and who challenges the stereotypes of the beauty norms that the society has given to the woman. For example, she talks of coloring her hair from blonde or from the color, the original color, to some other color so that the person will love for her good deeds, for her soul, for her inner beauty, not for her physical appearance. Fourth point, thinking perspective of society. How thinking perspective of society surrounds or is engulfed in the human minds. Each and every act of human being is always determined, is always described, and is always influenced by how the society thinks. Fifth point, impact of Yeats' personal life, that is Maud Gonne. Yeats always loved a same woman throughout his life. He tried proposing her 4 times but got rejected each and every time. Maud Gonne was not only very beautiful looking but was also known for her nationalist ideas and for her nationalist approach. So Maud Gonne basically is beautiful as well as revolutionary. So it is a contrast in itself. Sixth point, human love versus the love of God. This is the main theme of the poem, where human love is juxtaposed with that of the love of God. We humans love each other usually for the physical traits or the physical characteristics of a person, whereas God is the only person who will ever love a human being for his inner soul or for the beauty of his soul. So I have attached a further video where I have explained the poem paragraph wise, and I'll discuss it there. For Anne Gregory by William Butler Yeats. About the poet. William Butler Yeats was born on 13th June 1865. Yeats was an Irish poet, dramatist, a Nobel Prize winner, and the foremost figures of 20th century literature. Yeats was a true romantic. He loved the same woman all his life and proposed her 4 times but got rejected each and every time. I am discussing this point in order to better understand his thinking and his views towards feminine and feminism. Yeats was a driving force behind the Irish literary revival, along with Lady Gregory, Edward Martyn, and others. They together founded the Abbey Theatre. The poem For Anne Gregory is also said to be based on the conversation between Yeats and the granddaughter of Lady Gregory. Now coming to the introduction of the poem, I will be just discussing or giving an outline to the points, and then I will discuss these points with the paragraphs. The poem For Anne Gregory is a conversation between a young man and a young woman. The woman, named as Anne Gregory, has beautiful honey blonde hair. The poet, by means of this conversation, tries to question the conventional beauty norms of the society. Also, Yeats tries to depict the fear that was inculcated in the minds of the young women that if they disobey the societal norms or they don't follow those norms, they may have to face the wrath of the god, and hence the question of hell and heaven, or the concept of hell and heaven, was introduced. By means of an example given in the religious text, Yeats tries to prove his point that only God will love us for who we really are and not for our physical attributes. The poem also presents the structure of the society, that how woman is objectified and is expected to be the doll of the house or to be presentable and to take care of the husband, the household chores and the babies, and is demeaned only for the looks, irrespective of their talent. Now coming to the theme of the poem. The poem conveys a dark and demeaning message as it overlaps and it further presents the layers of the society or the thinking of the society, that how they think of a woman only as an object, appreciating only their physical attributes, and is destined to be loved not for herself alone but for her physical attributes, that is, beautiful honey-colored hair. Love is not rational because it is not subject to volitional control. The poem also portrays about how usually a young woman suffers from insecurities about their appearance because they are never ever able to cope up with the societal beauty standards set up. Sometimes the society expects that a perfect figure of a woman is she should be tall, she should be fair with beautiful hairs, which is not usually or which is not each and every time possible. So it may create insecurities amongst the young generation of the women. The poem very beautifully portrays the beauty norms set by society. For example, honey-colored hair as beautiful and dark hair as ugly. For example, we have read in the fables or the fairy tales each and every time the hero or the heroine of the fairy tale is usually very beautiful and the witch is portrayed as dark. It also makes us question about the true love versus love of God versus physical love. And last but not the least, religion always becomes a means of escape for humans. If you can't find solution for any XYZ problem, then you always give an excuse of religion. I'll read the paragraph first and then we'll explain the paragraph. Never shall a young man thrown into despair by those great honey-colored ramparts at your ear love you for yourself alone and not your yellow hair. Ramparts here means the four boundaries of the fort or the four walls of the fort. Now I'll explain the first paragraph. As I have told you earlier that this is a conversation between a man and a woman which begins by the appreciation of the young man who says that A young man shall never fall in love with a woman for her inner beauty or her soul, but only for her honey-colored hair. The poet has compared her hairs to that of the four walls of the fort, as they not only protect her beauty, but they also add more charm to her looks. But this all is of no use, as men will love her only for the hairs. Her beauty is of no use, because the men will only look at the hairs and not the person who owns those beautiful locks. You know how beautiful that soul of the person is. Cupid is often depicted as blindfolded, so that his arrows fall where they may with little regard to the appropriateness of the targets. So we love some people for something and others for something else. Here, when we fall in love, sometimes we say love is blind, because the same physical attribute, another person might also have the same physical attribute, what we may not appreciate it. We may like XYZ person but not other person. Now coming to the explanation of the paragraph 2, I'll read the paragraph second. But I can get a hair dye and set such color there, brown or black or carrot, that young men in despair may love me for myself alone and not my hello hair. This is the reply of the woman. She says that she can change the color of her hair by dyeing her hairs or to whatever color she wants. She, by means of this example, wants to emphasize that beauty is ephemeral and hence one day fades away. But the inner beauty of a person lies and stays forever, because this is what a human soul is made up of. A human soul is what good deeds are. And as the quote, handsome is what handsome day does. She says that she will change the color of her hairs to brown, black or carrot, an example of red, so that young men now will love her for what she really is, what her inner beauty is, and maybe then her inner beauty might get appreciation, and might expect that if a young man loves her truly, he will be willing to forsake others. She probably wants to feel special and not a substitute for some other woman. There are n number of women having yellow colored or honey colored hair, but here Anne wants to feel special for the person or for her characteristic, for her nature. Also, if the man loves her for her blonde hair, only then will he love another woman having blonde hair as well. As I've told you that there are n number of women. If a person loves you for your physical attributes, he may fall in love with another woman having the same physical attribute as well. The paragraph also reflects upon the feminist movements occurring at that time in order to challenge the norms of the society, that women now were becoming aware, they were getting aware of their rights, and they were fighting against it. Women are portrayed as mere objects and are expected to please men. In the 16th century or the 17th century, women were expected to stay within the four walls of the house. They were expected to be the doll figure, to look presentable. Women from the beginning, they were told how to, they were told about the etiquettes, they were told about how to be presentable or how to please men. So now the women had started So now these women had actually started fighting against the norms of the society, against the conventions of the society, and they had started opting for further, for the positive things, like for becoming a writer, for being in the political field, and for fighting for their rights, for the be it voting rights or be it right to read. Now coming to the third paragraph, I'll read out the third paragraph. I heard an old religious man but yesternight declare that he had found a text to prove that only God, my dear, could love you for yourself alone and not your yellow hair. The man here tries to conclude the poem by giving an example from the conversation which he had with the religious man, who further gives an evidence from a religious text which says that only God will ever love a human for his inner self, for his inner beauty, or for what good deeds he has done, and not for how he looks or for his physical character traits. This paragraph conveys that human always finds an escape and gives religion as an excuse. Also, universal truth is usually told by the religious person. In earlier times as well, whenever any woman would try to outbreak the conventions of society, she would be threatened by the religious figures, and the concept of going to heaven and hell was brought in. Now I'll conclude the poem by giving the literary devices and discussing the rhyming scheme of the poem. The rhyme scheme of the poem is ABC, BDB, and the literary devices that are used are hyperbole, thrown into despair, because this is exaggerated. Nobody is ever thrown into despair just by the physical appearance or just by the beautiful hair that the woman has. So the thing or the statement has been exaggerated. Next, metaphor, honey colored ramparts. The color of her hair have been compared to honey. Simile, like the color of carrot. When we use like or as for comparison, the literary device used is simile. Refrain, and not yellow hair. Here the poet, when he says that not my or not your yellow hair, therefore the device becomes refrain. Apostrophe, the poet follows the device of apostrophe as he is addressing himself to Anne Gregory, but we as readers never see her at any point, and we, the readers, also become the audience. We feel as if we are a part of the conversation and the conversation is happening in front of us. Metonymy, in the 9th line, when he uses the word carrot to mean the color orange or red, while making suggestions about the color she can dye her hair. Here the carrot is a representation of the color red or orange. Now I'll conclude the poem and just give you a synopsis. Here the main themes or the main points of the poem are religion, beauty standards, feminist approach, thinking perspective of men and society, impacts of Yeats' life, as in the beginning I told you about Maud Gonne, human love versus love of God. So this poem is basically a sweet poem about a young innocent girl who is made conscious about her looks, but in the end is also given satisfaction by the poet and is convinced that at least God will love her for her internally beauty and for what really she is.